Miami or Israel or Los Angeles or Beverly Hills or wherever you've been out gallivanting around. No, Doc, it's good to have you back in studio. How are you, man?
I'm going to be from the kayak here pretty soon.
Oh, really?
We'll start doing shows from the kayak.
We have a little GoPro on your helmet or whatever.
That's right. That's right.
I would like it.
We'll set that up. Maybe we'll all go out on the kayak.
Let's do it, man.
All
Do
right.
a little remote. Doc, we've been talking a lot of baseball, and we'll be ramping that up because opening day is this week. The Tigers will be in L.A. playing the Dodgers, and they get that going on Thursday night, national TV, all of that. Doc, and look, we have one segment, so I can't get to all the injuries because we would be here all day. But the one that jumps out, and I know you've touched on it in the past, but I need to know, Doc. The biggest one I feel like is the Parker Meadows injury. This is a guy that came out. He is a very, very good defender. The metrics say he's a good defender, unlike Javi Baez. And for me, Doc, he's the biggest missing piece. And now you're talking 60-day DL, and they're, quote, waiting for a nerve to wake up. Doc, come on. What the hell does that mean, dude?
That's basically how we try to simplify it for the public.
Okay.
I mean, waking up, we use that terminology. So think of something being shocked. Like we talk about spinal shock. We talk about cervical shock. The nerve gets shocked. It's like a neuropraxia is the technical term. I don't know if we have some anatomy, but someone told me it was a cutaneous nerve. I might have misspoke on a prior show, but it's the muscle cutaneous nerve, which is, you've heard about the brachial plexus. It's a very complex nerve coming from the spine, from your neck, going through your armpit, and then it creates all these branches. The musculocutaneous nerve is one of the major branches, which you can see there at the top. And I'm just showing you the detail of how much anatomy is going on in your armpit. And when you read what he says, he felt a pop, he felt something in his arm, and his arm kind of went dead. That musculocutaneous nerve innervates, stimulates multiple muscles in the upper arm. So you're talking about the bicep, the brachioradialis, kind of the big muscle up front. We all know our biceps. The brachioradialis is the one that's over your forearm on the outside if you got your palm up. And then, there's another muscle in there also. So that's the distribution. We're showing there kind of the detailed anatomy and then where the distribution is. He's starting to feel like I feel funny in my forearm. Those are all a distribution of that nerve. So what did he do? He probably overstretched that nerve. He supposedly got a very detailed nerve test, which we call an EMG test, which looks at objectively instead of subjectively, meaning subjectively is like what you're saying and what you're feeling, versus objectively is like what shows up on MRIs, what shows up on EMGs. You can't fake that. You can't describe it. We're looking at it from an anatomical. So when we say the nerve is waking up, am I getting too detailed?
No. I mean, it's detailed, but I'm gonna kind of land the plane on it, Doc. So essentially, this nerve is the 275/696 interchange. Like that's you know what I'm saying? Like it's
all right.
Is that fair? Like
it's not 75, it's 275.
275 and 696, right? Like that's
it's the branches of the major highway. I can go with that.
Okay, cool. See, I'm just trying to relate the material, but the moral of the story, Doc. Noah Messi, by the way, undoubtedly the best doctor in Michigan in the chat. So there you go.
Wow.
But Doc, the moral of the story for me is I don't like the sound of this. You know what I mean? 60-day DLs, interchanges for nerves. The nerve is dead. We're waiting for it to wake up. Like, so, Doc, is he screwed or like what's the deal here, man?
Those are all. I would use that terminology also. So, yes, they're right on. What happens in a like a shock, like we hear it a lot. Like you'll see a guy get hit in football. It's kind of classic, and then his whole arm will go dead.
Like a stinger,
right?
A stinger, right?
Yeah, it's a sting. It's the classic stinger. But now you're getting what we call a neuropraxia, which is a deadening of the nerve where it doesn't just pop back. Like in a stinger, you kind of shake your arm out, and an hour later you're doing okay. This isn't responding. So now we're looking for breaking of the nerve, and we're not seeing that. The nerve test, which I was getting to, I think was done in San Diego or Phoenix or something. He's seeing that there's activity in the nerve on the EMG. So it's electrical impulses that we put through and we look at how it's stimulating. So the good news is I'm assuming he's getting the stimulation through the nerve. It's just how fast it'll activate. younger player. There is some stuff. There's some therapy. There's that raking. But actually, it's like, think of like it being shocked, and it shuts down, and it's just going to slowly turn back on. Sometimes we talk about acupuncture. We talk about secret sauces. We do all that, and he's going to get all of it. But at the end of the day, it's that activity level that we can measure by looking at his muscle activities from that nerve specifically.
So I think that the biggest thing, right, when we're talking about nerves, we're not talking about bone, we're not talking about ligaments or surgery or stuff like the nerves. When you're talking about this, is it just a time thing? Because I think the one thing is like 60 days. Frustration. Well, it's a 60. No, the frustration is the unknown. Right? Yeah. Like, we don't deal with, like, unless it's pitchers and stuff like this. Is this something like a pitching injury? Is this a Tommy John situation? No. Because it's not ligament, it's nerve, right? So what, as a doctor, is it just time? Like, how do you repair nerves?
Well, there's medications we think we give. There's peptides we think we give. There's secret sauce we give. There's laser. There's electrical stim. There's all those things. Like, there's a new device that I'm working with for muscle stimulation. So are we worried that he's going to get atrophy of those muscles? Maybe he should be on these things where it self-contracts and maintains the muscle while he's in recovery. There's a lot of things to think about, but unfortunately, he's not my patient. But these guys know what they're doing. They're on cutting edge. But yeah, at the end of the day, the human body is the human body. We can't push it. It can be 6 months. I just think they're saying it's not going to be 30 days for his return. I'm surprised they put it to 60. I think it should go 30 by 30, but I'm not seeing what's going on or examining. If he's got no movement where he's like he can't throw, that means a lot of the muscles are not kicking in for his throwing activity. You're just talking one segment of the arm, one nerve. Again, if you want to show the picture again of how much integration of the nerves going on, there's a lot of anatomy.
It's 696 and 275, and you're trying to get home from the west side.
Shut that down. You're sitting in traffic for a long time.
Absolutely. So, no, but Doc, like
that's a great picture of the brachial plexus, the breakdown, how it comes from the neck. They all form the brachial plexus in the armpit, and then it branches off into its needed muscles and all the way down to your fingers.
So Peaceful Tim in the chat, his remedy of, oh, come on, put some frozen peas on it and get out there. Like that's not it. No, but Doc, I did read, though, the good thing for Parker Meadows in all this, he can do physical activity. To some degree baseball activity, but physical activity, running, all that kind of stuff. As I read a couple of stories on it, they do expect that once the nerve wakes up, I guess the terminology is the thing that the nerve wakes up.
We can use fancy terms, so we can say just wake up.
Yeah, wake up. He should be able to hit the ground running because, Doc, here's what I'm terrified of. It all comes back to this, right? And certainly I want him to get healthy. I do, because he's proven he can help this ball club.
Right.
And I was one of his bigger detractors when he hit 071 for the first 2 months that he was up there. But he proved that he can impact a baseball game, certainly defensively.
Right.
And he's so needed right now. And I guess that's my thing, right? When the nerve does fire, he can pretty quickly get back into baseball shape, right? Because he's physically in shape still.
Yeah, he shouldn't lose baseball shape. If they do the fancy stuff for that arm to maintain its strength, that's great. But don't think like it's like a thorn in you and then you pull the thorn out and everything's okay. There's a gradual progression of the nerve. There's, hopefully it's not more than a neuropraxia. If it's severed or cut, then you're talking about millimeters a month. That's not good. So you're talking about a gradual turning on what's more aggressive. So it's not like 6 months, boom, you pulled the thorn out and the switch went back on.
So is 60 days a guess?
Oh yeah, it's total guess.
Could it fire next week?
It could activate in some of his nutritional health, nerve health. Certain medications may activate it quicker. I mean, he's young, he's healthy. He has a lot more positives on his side than negatives.
Okay, I wanted to have a sit down and discuss it.
I think we got a little deep there on the.
No, we did, but it's good though because it helps the understanding. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the terminology they use. We're waiting for the nerve to wake up. Yeah. What are we talking about here? But as you explain it, the nerve that is 696 and 275 A lot's going through there. A lot of traffic going through there. So it does make sense. What else you got going on, Doc?
What else? I don't know. Getting ready for summer. I talk about preseason stuff, not just baseball, but all our listeners that think they're golfers and softball players and flag football and.
Oh, we're going to hit the ground running, Doc.
Yeah, it's that gradual return. It doesn't happen.
There is no gradual return. We're in there.
So let's categorize. I'm trying to figure out how to talk to decades of people, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about how you get out of bed. How slow do you get out of bed? Do you pop out of bed and you come out running, or do you roll around in bed a couple times? You got to stretch. You need about 2 to 3 minutes to get going. You need 10 to 20 minutes. These are all signs that you're not ready for preseason sports if you're not popping out of bed easily. Prevention's key. I mean, Michigan Sports is buying from day one. I've pushed that prevention, stretching, being proactive, finding nutritional patterns. It's not a cup of coffee and swinging your cell phone and texting on your phone as the morning warm up. You got to be true to yourself. If you're looking not to see people like us, you got to respect your body. I think the younger individuals today are doing a much better job, but I think they're taking a lot for granted. So, yeah, I mean, what can we talk about? We don't have the Lions. We can talk about Hutch, his recovery, but at the end of the day, we want to talk about what's important to the viewers.
No doubt.
And this stretching, you're really good. You exercise every day. Mm-hmm. There's people that think they were exercising every day, and they're fooling themselves because they're not seeing any results. So it's start the morning. Start your morning right. If you're having pain when you wake up in the morning, then stretch at night. These little things really add up. As far as flexibility, we talked about brittle. We talked about the pickleball craze. It's the fastest growing sport, also the fastest growing in injuries too. Younger people are playing that sport too. Your average age has moved out of the 60s.
Making my insurance premiums go up.
Yeah, your Medicare is going up right now.
Get in shape, before you don't just roll out there and start playing pickleball. Get in shape first.
That's right.
So my insurance premiums don't go up. It's about me.
It's about everybody. It's help the government out there. They don't know what they're doing. But yeah, I mean there's a lot of stuff going on. We're working on a lot of prevention. We're doing the nursing home stuff, which we don't go there to die. We're actually developing new programs for that. There's core muscle, floor muscle. We're working with a new equipment called BTL that we're looking at to start helping out with what's reality of clinical and stuff like that. So
all right,
there's a lot of things going on.
In the chat, Dr. Pierce is the man. Yes, he is. We certainly do appreciate the time, Doc, for sure, my friend.
Yeah, I think we're going to start bringing in some of my other docs, too, like
cool.
Dr. Dobrit, people that are just, crushing it behind the scenes from my office and his expertise. He's like the godfather of pain, as far as procedures and stuff like that. And we're just trying to branch out. We're trying to bring a new attitude to medicine. Something I do want to touch on is that I think I want to hear from the chat. Is traditional medicine losing credibility? Meaning, do you feel like you go to a doctor, they're so fast-paced, they're just listening to about 50% of what you're saying, and they're handing you a pill to solve it?
Here's one from Neil in Washington Township. Yes, Doc, I agree with that. You're incentivized.
Well, I think that more so today, just with anything else. Like we just had Brian in from Planet Fitness. We talk about food. It's all about you have to be more self-involved in your own healthcare. It's not just go to a doctor and listen. There's stuff on the internet. Like people are more educated that want to learn. Plus people are getting older too, so they want to feel better. Right, and they're willing to do whatever. So I think it's the communication and the transparency from your side, because usually it's like, oh, it's a doctor, and don't go in the office and don't bother them, and he's probably got surgery. So I think it's more of the conversation and the personability that and the education. Right, I didn't know all that for whatever else. Like, thank goodness, never had any nerve issues, but we never got into how it's effective like this. I think my first thing is nerve, 60 days, what's it? And you're telling me that it's more, your diet and your treatment and the sauce and stuff like that. But you don't sound, to me, Neil, it doesn't sound like Doc is as worried as he has been on different guys' injuries.
Well, Leo in the chat says, "Don't go corporate, Doc, if you actually care." But no, that's the moral of the story, Doc.
Well,
I mean, that's why we talk. Like, I trust you to ask you what's right for me, and I'm not like, I don't go see you in the office because I see you here every week. But
right.
no, that's the thing that's kind of like real talking right now.
Right.
Just as I've gotten to know you, though, like you do care. Like you do care about people. Darren McCarty is sitting right here telling you guys he would not have won another Stanley Cup without him. Like I guess that's what I'm trying to just drive across, Doc. Like through our relationship, and I've gotten to know you and stuff like that. Like, you're going to be hanging out in Miami and stuff like that because that's what you are. But you do care, Doc. So I do appreciate that.
I'm spreading the word down there. I'm not.
I know.
These aren't just vacations. They're not vacations. They're work related, But the corporate thing is really what we're going after. I mean,
yes,
that's
been a big thing to you, yeah.
There's a big thing with Blue Cross right now with therapy that's going to hinder your abilities to do therapy appropriately. So it's a big thing. I know it's making the news big time right now. I think the Free Press just put out a big article yesterday. I know Grand Rapids is covering, but it's a statewide issue of therapy, and the corporate is taking over. We have to reduce the cost. You can't depend on your medical care to do it. Like what Darren said, you have so much education out there. I want to be a resource. Our major reason for starting the show wasn't to talk about Lions injuries.
Right.
It was to be a resource for the common person out there of where to go, how to go, and how to get there quickly. Because if you make the first mistake by going to the wrong doctor, all your insurance is used up. So now it's coming out of pocket or you don't do it. So the educational piece, the self-awareness, the proactive stretching before you get out of bed to prevent that injury is the first key of being successful. It hurts my business personally, but in the big picture, no, that's really what we're trying to do, is being proactive, and I'm really on my soapbox right now.
Well, Doc, no, I appreciate it, though.
Doc,
you keep it real.
Before we get you, I got a quick question. Do you have a hand guy? Because my dad hurt his hand, and it's really bothering him. It's been bothering him the past couple weeks. Do you have someone you could recommend as like a hand specialist that he could go see?
Yeah, we can handle it if it's not surgical. And if it's surgical, we can get him to the right people.
Okay.
There it is, Dr. Pearson.